In May 1994, Emily Carter, a 32-year-old nurse from Aberdeen, Scotland, died when the car she was traveling in crashed on a remote country road and burst into flames. Her husband, Daniel Carter, survived with barely a scratch. At Emily's funeral, her brother Paul stood beside Daniel, holding his hand as they cried together. Paul believed they were grieving the same loss. What he didn't know was that he was holding the hand of his sister's killer. Daniel Carter was born in London in 1959. His father was a high-ranking police officer, and his mother was a nurse. On the surface, he came from a respectable family. But from a young age, something about Daniel was deeply wrong. He pretended to faint to gain attention. He set small fires. He fabricated illnesses to win sympathy. As a teenager, he told people he had cancer. None of it was true. Daniel left school early and drifted between jobs, working briefly as a nurse, a driver, and a laborer, never staying anywhere for long. He often said, "Why work hard when someone else can do it for you?" In the late 1980s, Daniel worked as a nurse overseas. During that time, several unexplained deaths occurred under his supervision. No charges were filed, but suspicions followed him back to the UK. In 1991, he met Emily Carter. Emily was kind, compassionate, and deeply dedicated to her work as a nurse. She fell in love quickly. Daniel seemed attentive, gentle, and protective. They married in 1993. Almost immediately, Emily's health began to decline. She became constantly exhausted, confused, unable to focus. She grew dependent on Daniel for care. What Emily didn't know was that Daniel had been secretly drugging her with sedatives. Just days before her death, Emily confided in a friend. She said, "I'm not right. I'm tired all the time. I can't think clearly." On May 27, 1994, Daniel drove Emily to a remote country road late at night. She was unconscious from the drugs. Daniel parked the car, set it on fire, and walked away. When emergency responders arrived, Daniel calmly told them there was no one else in the vehicle. He repeated it again and again. Emily burned to death. Despite suspicious details, no skid marks, no crash damage, the death was ruled an accident. Daniel collected over $200,000 in insurance money. The case was closed, or so it seemed. 2 years later, Daniel married again, this time to Laura Mitchell, a nurse from New Zealand. Soon after their wedding, Laura began experiencing disturbing symptoms: extreme fatigue, double vision, blackouts lasting hours. During her pregnancy, the symptoms became worse. Medical tests later revealed the truth. She had been repeatedly drugged. There were also unexplained house fires, missing money, and forged insurance policies worth millions. Daniel even attempted to stage another fatal car crash. This time, Laura survived. When she confronted him, his response was chilling. He said, "You would have died happy." Laura reported everything to police. Daniel fled the country. Years later, he resurfaced and began targeting another woman, Sarah Blake. He lied about having terminal cancer and convinced her to change her will in his favor. But this time, police were watching. A domestic violence expert noticed a horrifying pattern: two identical accidents, years apart, different countries, the same man. Authorities reopened Emily Carter's case. Using modern forensic techniques, investigators tested preserved tissue from Emily's original autopsy. The results changed everything. Sedatives were found in her body. Emily Carter's death was not an accident. In 2011, Daniel Carter finally stood trial. The case spanned 6 countries, involved over 1,000 witnesses, and became one of the longest criminal trials in Scottish history. The verdict was swift: guilty of murder, guilty of attempted murder, guilty of fraud, arson, and drugging. Daniel Carter was sentenced to life in prison, with a minimum of 30 years, one of the longest sentences ever handed down. For 17 years, he made it look like an accident. For 17 years, he walked free. But the truth always leaves a trace. This case is a reminder that not all monsters look dangerous. Some wear uniforms of trust, some hide behind sympathy, and sometimes the most carefully planned crimes still collapse under the weight of time, because evil can hide, but it can never stay buried forever.